Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Now today we're going to be looking at a track that was actually suggested to me a little while back. I've managed to dig it up through my YouTube comments. I'm going to be looking at a band called Author and Punisher. Never ever heard of them before. Tried to do a little bit of information. There wasn't really that much, but there is some. And what I've found is Author and Punisher is a one-man musical project from San Diego, formed in January of 2004. By mechanical engineer and artist Tristan Shon. Most of the instrumentation and controllers he uses, entitled Drone Machines and Dub Machines, are custom designed and fabricated by Shon himself from raw materials and open source electronic circuitry. Sounds interesting. Shon has released 8 albums as Author and Punisher. The first two, I believe, Milk and Honey in 2015 and Pressure Mine in 2017 were released on Phil Anselmo's record label, Housecore Records. His latest album, Beastland, was released on Relapse Records in 2018. And that's all I can really find on the band / artist. So, it says he uses instrument controllers and stuff made by himself, so that's quite an interesting little thing. And he calls them drone machines and dub machines, so I'm guessing this is some sort of electronic style music. So we'll just have to see. I'm quite intrigued by this. The track we're going to look at is called Nihil Strength, as in nihility and strength, I'm guessing. I have lyrics up here, but I can tell you from just a cursory look at them, they're not very deep. So we'll jump into the track and have a look and see what we've got. Quite intrigued by this, so yes, let's have a look. So Nihil and Strength by Author and Punisher.
Dwells thus as if unable to move again, or no will left to move again, not enough will left to move again.
there you go. Nihil's Strength by Author and Punisher. Very, very interesting. As I've read in the description before, like all the instrumentation and controllers he uses, he's made himself, which is quite impressive when you actually look at what he's done there. I mean, he's got that sort of backwards, forwards hand motion pump thing on his right-hand side that seems to control the drums, and by looking at the way he's moving his fingers, depends what buttons he's pressing, depends what sound he gets when he makes impact. So that's quite interesting and very impressive. And it's got quite an industrial look to it. It's got an interesting sort of possibly slightly industrial sound going on to it as well. It's very unusual. I mean, I didn't know what I was expecting going into this, but I'm not sure it was quite like that. So, it's got heavy elements to it, but it's sort of more in the... Well, I don't even know where to begin with describing what that sounds like, because it's... maybe a little bit of Aphex Twin thrown in there sort of thing. Obviously, primarily electronic music, and that microphone thing that he had going around the side of his face, by the way he was moving his mouth up and down it, I'm guessing that each part of it, because there seem to be 4 sections to it, each part of it has a different effect for when he's doing vocals. So, rather interesting. Now, like I said, the lyrics themselves, should I say, are not deep at all, as you might have been able to tell from listening to it. It opens up with a spoken part. It says, "Dwells thus as if unable to move again, or no will left to live to move. No will left to live to move again. Not enough will to live to move again." And then it goes into the core of the song, shall we say, which goes strength, Nihil's strength, Nihil's strength, Nihil's strength, horde, mighty horde, mighty horde, mighty horde, and basically that's repeated over and over again throughout the song, and that's it. So there's no real deep meaning I can pluck out of this song because there's very little to work with. But I will say it's very, very interesting, especially seeing all of these contraptions that he's built himself, which is impressive in itself. So he's really put some thought and effort into making this music his own. I would be interested in looking at something else, some other stuff by him, to see if there's any variation, see if any of his sort of lyrics might go any deeper than just what we have here. So I might have to revisit him at some point in time. But I can't really think of much to say about it. I mean, it was interesting. It wasn't something that really stirred me up and sort of got me excited, but I didn't hate it either. It was very interesting. I do like interesting music, and one thing I've always said is I like music that shows skill and talent, and there's definitely that going on here. I mean, this guy made his own instruments, essentially. So, there's definitely skill, talent, thought, and effort put into this. It's not just somebody sitting in their bedroom with a computer adding beeps, boops, and whoops in a continual loop to make music. That to me doesn't take any talent. That doesn't take any skill. It's just putting a whole bunch of, default noises together into a program and hoping for the best, whereas this, he's actually built these machines. Other bands play their own instruments rather than just relying on a computer to do it all for them. So yeah, I'm intrigued by it, I will say that much. But like I said, I can't really go too deep into anything about it, so I can't really say much more on that fact, so I'll leave it as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you can even message me through Patreon, where there is also an option to get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue, should you so desire. There is a couple of limitations on that, though, in order to be fair to other people, such as only being able to do it once a month or something along those lines, so that other people who suggest through YouTube comments, Facebook and Instagram get a fair chance to get their tracks looked at as well. Now, as I've said recently, my computer did go kaput, so I did lose my original lists. I'm trying to recompile it out of old YouTube comments that I've yet to investigate yet, which is where this track actually came from. I got this from trawling through my YouTube comments from quite some time back. And so yeah, it might take me a while to get to your suggestion if you do make a suggestion through those mediums, although it's more likely to come up quicker than usual at the moment since I'm recompiling a list. But yeah, I do write down every suggestion I get, so it'll get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it, I'm afraid. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, mainly those aimed towards people of the alternative culture. It's something I believe in very, very strongly. It's something I think definitely needs a lot more attention bringing to it, because it's something that gets widely ignored. And, it needs attention because, people are getting severely hurt. And every single day, all around the world, people from the alternative community are getting violently attacked, brutally beaten, just because they listen to alternative music. And, like I said, it goes widely ignored. And that needs to change, because it is a real problem. Nothing ever gets said about it. And we're not just talking about, the occasional shoulder barge or insults thrown out windows. We're talking about brutal, violent attacks that are leaving people in hospital with, broken bones or sometimes even worse, more severe intrusive injuries, like being stabbed or worse. But we never hear anything about it. And that's something that we definitely need to change, because last time we heard anything in widespread media about something like this was about 12 to 13 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently attacked by a group of 5 or 6 people and beaten so severely that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he thankfully survived. He was in a coma for about a week or so, I can't remember exactly how long. But Sophie Lancaster was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman, 20 years old, was beaten to death. She was murdered purely because of the way she dressed and the music that she listened to. And this happened 12, 13 years ago. And that's the last time there was any widespread coverage of this happening. But I can guarantee you, in the time since that happened, hundreds, if not thousands of people from the alternative community have been attacked in similar ways. But we've just never heard anything about it. Mainly because no one's died. And that, in and of itself, is disgusting. It shouldn't take someone's death for this subject to get spoken about. And that's what we need to change. We need to bring more attention to this. I mean, every day in the media we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, what have you. We hear about these every single day, from the most violent and heinous crime with someone being murdered because of the colour of their skin or their religion or their sexual preference, down to the most pathetic of these crimes where entitled Karen is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. We hear every single facet of these on a regular basis, but we're not hearing about these people that are getting brutally attacked, almost beaten to death just because of their taste in music. And people have argued with me, oh, it's not a hate crime. It is. It's the very essence of a hate crime. You are attacked. Someone is getting attacked because they hate something about that person. Whether it is the colour of their skin, whether it is their religion, whether it is their sexual identity, what have you, whether it's their taste in music. If you hate that one thing about the person, and that is why you are attacking them, that is a hate crime. And, these attacks on people from the alternative community are not getting any attention, and that needs to change, because by ignoring it, by not doing anything about it, the people committing these crimes are essentially just getting away with it, and we're saying it's okay to go and do that, you carry on. And that is unacceptable. It needs to stop. It needs to change. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring attention to the fact that this is happening. They want more people to realise what's going on, so we can put a stop to it, so we can put an end to these people that are, getting hospitalised purely because of their taste in music. I mean, of all things, how can anybody justify attacking someone because they like different music? That's like attacking someone because they like How I Met Your Mother instead of Friends. It's stupid, it is ridiculous, but it is happening, and it needs to stop. We need to stop what happened from Sophie Lancaster from ever happening again. We cannot allow it to happen again. It should never have happened in the first place. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their main goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it's a small donation through their website or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands off their web store, you know, the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to the fact that this is happening, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.